Yeah, welcome to a new week, welcome to a new month, and also welcome to a fresh edition of Summit on Monday morning, live from Lagos. My name is Jumoke Michaels. Good to be with you again today. Banji, good to be back at work.
Yes, good to be back at work, and we just had our 61st anniversary as a nation.
Yeah.
We've gone through many challenges, but thank God we're still together as a country, one united, indivisible country. And we are here this morning. Thank God for the gift of life. My name is Banji Busari.
All right, so on the program today, we are still commemorating Nigeria's 61st independence anniversary. It held on Friday, but today we are still going to be talking about Nigeria at 61, talking about issues arising and the president's speech. We'll also be talking today on insecurity, talking about the continuous unrest in the southeastern part of Nigeria. And joining us this morning, we have an attorney at law and a public affairs analyst, Mr. Joe Eboigbe. Eboigbe. You're welcome, sir.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And happy independence.
Yes, I will say happy independence to Nigerians, and I hope we're able to find happiness.
We hope we're able to find happiness. Amen. Let me claim it, because happiness actually encapsulates so much. The independence anniversary, just as Professor has come and gone. Nigerians are back at work, the holiday is over. And the hallmark of that independence was the president's speech. President, usually, that's the traditional of actually marking. He actually addressed us and attempted to restore so much hope in Nigerians. He gave a kind of he chronicled what has happened in the last couple of weeks, months, and years. And one of the highlights of that speech that he rated himself as maybe the best, one of the best thing that has happened to this country. That he has come at the most challenging time, yet he has done so much for us. Of course, not discountenancing all the challenges that have come, but for you listen to it, I believe.
Yes, I do.
So what's your take from that speech?
Okay, to put it very narrow, I am sure was among the few Nigerians who still believed that something good would come out from the presidential speech. I woke up early, which I didn't have to because it was a public holiday. I woke up early to sit down and listen to our president speak. And frankly, I think, and that is my personal opinion, I'm very strong on it, that it was a time wasted for me. I should have used that time for maybe some other more profitable ventures. Now, the speech itself was riddled with contradictions. On the one hand, he said he has performed better than any of the presidents before him from 1998 in putting Nigeria in the right path. Now, what I took out of that is in the right path. And I sat back and I looked from 1999, the Obasanjo era, the Yar'Adua, the Goodluck Jonathan, and then I asked myself, is this the right path? Because I am not sure why he was reading that he intended, because that would be very insensitive of him. I'm not sure he intended to sell to Nigeria that he has performed better than all the presidents before him. I think it would be helpful if we believe that he intended to say that he is the one who has put Nigeria in the right path, not in general performance with regards to the economy or the healthcare, the basic facilities, the securities, the fears. Now, if today you walk out on the streets and ask any Nigerian, however described, religion, tribe. Just pick any Nigerian on the street and ask the Nigerian if he feels better, if his earnings are able to provide him better comfort, if he's able to live a better life than he did before the President Muhammad Buhari's regime, I'm sure the answer will be unanimous. Even if you ask that person within Asuro.
Even within Asuro?
Even within Asuro, they will tell you that they have not felt better. Because as you would know, the commodities is up there. And I'm not sure the civil servants have had salary increments since our dear president came in. Imagine any particular amount.
No, 30,000 naira was actually 30,000 naira minimum wage.
Are you really?
Before that it was
are they paying 30,000 naira salary?
It was 18,000 naira. So the civil servants have had almost 100%
increment. Okay, Mr. Banji, I'm not a civil servant, but I'll tell you for free that if you ask them, they'll tell you that that has not in any way reflected in their livelihood. It has not given them a better life. So his speech, for me, is contradictory. Now he also said that this is the worst time. Yes, that was one of the few truths that came out from the speech. The past 5-6 years has been the worst time for every Nigerian. I was not here during the Civil War, so I cannot know how bad it was. But now if you say to me that this is the worst time, and you admit that this is the worst it has been for us, and then you say that you have felt better than those that came before you, and you say that from 1998 we are at war.
All right, let's... I'd
like to create the indulgence that we need to go up. We need to actually ask, request for a short break.
Oh, all right. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back. It's still Summit, and we're still talking about Nigeria at 61 issues arising and analyzing the president's speech. All right, you were trying to ask a question?
I was
going to ask the question.
You were going to ask the question.
All right, so I just want you to give us a sincere analysis of your perspective of Nigeria since independence. Let's talk about qualitative analysis. I know you have said a little bit about Nigerians not having it easy right now. But looking at it qualitatively, how would you describe Nigeria now? I don't know if you went to school when education was free and all that.
I don't know if it would be fair to use the words quality in describing our present state. I was not there during independence, but I went to school in the 80s, and that was a better life. We had more than enough at that time. As a matter of fact, there were no public schools in the old Imo State where I schooled. In the old Cross River and then in the old Imo State. There were no public schools there.
No public schools.
There were no private schools, I'm sorry, there were no private schools. We all went to public schools. And then if you pick education, for instance, and you ask yourself, how many of us who are, if we can still say we are middle class, can send our children to public schools today? That will tell you how bad we have come. Now, if you leave education and you go to healthcare, you also know that other than some few states where you still have functional general hospitals, those in the rural areas cannot say they have primary health care anymore, other than the structures there with empty equipment. So which other aspects should we be comparing? Is it security that I cannot conveniently drive from Benin to my village in the village, which ordinarily should take us less than an hour ride, because I'll be scared that I'll be kidnapped? Or is it the fear that went on the social media recently, that people are being picked on the streets and in the houses in Lagos? Is it the southeast? Is it the northeast? So on security, we are on a zero level too.
What about agriculture? Because this administration is actually spending so much on agriculture.
Now, I would want to speak, because it is always it's convenient for us to speak from our positions, but it is safer if you go down a bit to understand what the ordinary man on the street is going through. I want to reflect on that. If you say agriculture is good,
I didn't say it's good. I
was
asking your
opinion. The government is investing more in agriculture.
Yes, investing.
The purpose of investment is to better the lot of Nigerians. It's for us to have sufficient food at affordable price. So can we really say that out there on the street, the price of foodstuff is better than it was? No. So where exactly is the investment in agriculture going into? Good. In Kebbi State, for instance, we're having major productions of rice. They are developing. Abakaliki is producing. Beautiful. But how does that reflect in the cost of basic food in the market that the poor man on the streets will go every day to buy from? That is what, for me, is the criteria to rate how good we have performed. So if we were to rate on a scale of 1 to 10, because I'm a very patriotic Nigerian, I'll say 3.
All right. As at 1960, when we got our independence, research has shown that our population was just 45 million. As we speak, it's in excess of 210. You call that geometrical increase. But if you look at, if you just oppose that with our economy, I'm sure the economy couldn't have that's if you calculate the percentage, 45 million to 210, that's over 400, 500% What would you say of our economy? Our economy cannot be said to have developed so fast. Where did we actually get it from? That the GDP today is less than, it's so poor that it can actually not sustain anybody.
Okay, for me, beyond the growth in our population, which I do not think should be rated negative, I think that would have been an advantage to us as a nation. We have not been producing. The economy we are discussing now, the 1960s into the 70s, was a production economy. That was the era when we had all the pyramids. That was when cocoa was the in thing.
Textile.
That was when Nigeria had a functional economy. Now what happens is that every end of month, the governors would wait and run to Abuja and collect handouts, share amongst themselves, spend it as they will, and they wait for another end of month. And then you want that to reflect in the economy? It's not possible. What exactly are we producing that will impact in our economy? Nothing. We wait every other day to know how much the price of oil in the world market is. And then someone comes to us and says, oh, my government cannot do very well because now we are selling at 20 naira per barrel. As though you were elected to sell oil. You were elected to open doors, open economic doors, open infrastructure so that we can have a boom again. So if you ask me, it is the lazy approach. We have become both complacent and grossly irresponsible. The political leaders, grossly irresponsible that they wait every month to share whatever they sales from oil and the other ones that they forcefully collect from citizens, which they call tax. And once they share it, they are home and dry, they go they have fun fair and everybody's happy again, then wait for the next month. That is not what will grow our economy.
So that it's not making them look inwards to see the things they can do to have a productive, more productive state, at least at their state level.
With the kindest respect to them, most of them don't even have the capacity to look inwards. Most of the governors with respect to a few of them, most of them do not know what to do. How do you bring someone into governance that has never distinguished himself in any field of life? One who has never been successful in any endeavor, you want to bring him to government to do magic? How? He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do, and we are also not helping the situation. And I'll tell you why.
Who are the we?
The followers. I'll tell you why. You see, 3 days ago there was a commissioner list in Edo State, and a certain Joseph Ebwegwe was there. And all my friends called me. Persons I have not heard from.
To rejoice with you.
Persons I have not heard from for 20 years called to say, oh, it's our turn. I saw your name in the commissioner list. Oh, now it's our turn. And I asked myself, turn to do what? So you see, that is how the friends and relatives of Nigeria influence the politicians to steal. Because we have not. I am not the Joseph Ebwegwe whose name is there. It was just. I'm not the one. But people felt, oh, if Joseph Ebwegwe is there, it's our
turn.
It's our friend, it's our brother, it's our man. Let's go there and take our share of the bite. And then that Joseph Ebwegwe that is there must have also received similar calls. And they will rate his performance as to they will rate his performance from how much his friends and his inner circle benefited from his time in government.
But do you not also link that to the fact that that attitude, the attitude of Nigerians, the followers, as you said, to impoverishment, consistent impoverishment since 60s? Well, maybe in the 60s we didn't have such attitude to government appointees or maybe national pause or getting share of the national cake. Do you not link that to the fact that people don't believe there's hope anywhere that to get from their representatives who are in government?
Banji, I will disagree with you. My friends are not impoverished. The persons who called me are not impoverished. They are not deprived enough to depend on whatever comes from government. These are persons who have distinguished themselves in their own chosen fields.
So what else would they have?
So they are not impoverished. But it is the mentality of an average Nigerian now that, okay, government is about looting. Government is about corruption.
Getting more.
The other persons have taken their share. Now that my friend is there, let us take our share. And these are the same persons that will come on air and on the streets to condemn the situation we find ourselves. But if you flip the coin, if you turn the table, it could be worse.
Okay, now let's look at people have continuously said we have recycled men since 60s. We have recycled the leaders, the same people whose name we heard in the 60s, 70s. Some of them are still in the sanity today. That maybe if we can experiment with the youth, that is entrusting the governance of this country to the youth who have different perception, different approach to governance, that maybe our lot will be much better. Do you think the youth is ready?
Am I allowed?
I think maybe we should define the age we are talking about.
The youth.
What age bracket is that?
When you say, I mean less than
60,
less than 50.
Okay.
Less than 50.
Am I allowed to tell you, Banji, that am I allowed to give you names of governors who are within that youth bracket? And so that you tell us how they are performing in their states?
No, maybe.
Or should we go to the National Assembly and then I give you names of persons who have held the speakership, who were less than 50, and how they performed? It is not the youth. It is not even you see, the problem is not about the age, which for me should actually be reviewed. There's no reason why old and senile men should run our 2021 economy. I agree with that. But you see, it is not enough to bring a young man in. In a civilized climate, you prepare persons for governance. You prepare them. You groom them into governance. You do not pick a hairdresser, elect her into the National Assembly, and because of party politics, make her a Speaker of the House of Reps. You don't do that. It is because of those persons who do not have any form of pedigree or history. They don't know what to do. This is the only country, I think, in the world where loyalty is synonymous with docility. That party loyalty would mean that if Mr. President is wrong, I cannot say he's wrong. Sorry. If my party leader is wrong, I cannot say he's wrong. If the governor brings in a negative bill to the House of Assembly because we belong to the same party, I cannot tell him that, no, this is wrong. A bill that I know would endanger my people that I'm representing, I will still vote for it. I mean, we're all here when a certain National Assembly member, being part of the committee, voted in the committee, wrote a report, and because it was a caucus thing, jettisoned the report in the General House when it came to the approval of the report. So that is how we have been debased as human beings. Now, on the youths, where are the youths?
Here are they.
Who are the persons preparing them? Who are the mentors? I say this to you with respect to our younger generation. If what we see out there in the social media is who they are, then what we have now will be better than what we will have in future.
Really?
Yes.
Is that what you have just said? Is that not similar to what President Muhammadu Buhari said sometime last year? That we have the lazy youth who are not productive, who are lazy, and who are desirous of easy life. Is that not similar?
The reason I would reach that conclusion is this. There was a program that ran on air for weeks. It's called Big Brother Nigeria. If you see the enthusiasm with which Nigerian youth voted in that program to elect a certain winner that will sit back and collect 90 million naira, that they will not share from, that will not directly impact in their lives. And then you view that against the interest they show in state elections, in proper elections that will impact directly in their lives, then you will know that they are not ready. They are not ready.
Well, what about youth in public service? I guess they are there.
No,
it's just that they don't want to come out. Youth like you, sir.
Yes. How young am I now? I'm running out of the youth bracket. So
you're still in that bracket, and we look up to you.
But you see, the truth, the way our politics is structured today, no sane youth who is earning a decent living and able to fend for his family would go and engage in politics. And I'll tell you why. If I was going to contest for the least election in Nigeria, that would be the ward council, the council election within a ward. I'll most likely have over 60% of the persons in my ward to be my family members. Their cousins, aunts, if I'm going back to my roots to contest. But do you know that they will still demand money from me? And if the intention is to serve them, and I know how hard it is for me to earn in Lagos, do you think I will invest my money to serve them? I won't. That is why the persons you will see contesting for these offices are people who are predetermined to steal. Because how then can you explain selling the governorship form for some millions of naira? If the governor is to serve the people, why will you have to pay so much to his party to get the ticket? And pay even more to campaign. And go around all the local governments and spend millions or billions of naira And you ask yourself, if we are also fair to these governments, would there not be need to recoup that money? It's an investment. So the narrow thing for me is that the youths, there are a handful of them that are very prepared. There are very sound Nigerian youths out there, but I'm not sure they will be willing to invest in politics as it is managed today in Nigeria. And you
Then,
also
of course, you saw what happened in 2019. We have one time Deputy Governor CBN came out. We had that Morgan. We also had Feladuro Toye. So many of them. We have Chris Obi and all that. So I mean,
how many votes did they get?
So some of the youth are willing and are ready. Would they have the followership to win the election? That's still coming back to what you said earlier.
The thing is that what percentage of votes came to the youths? This supposed youth, because I'm not sure those people are really youth in the real sense of youth. Because we have now moved youthfulness to 60 in this country. But these persons are not that young to be.
And I want
a 35 years old president. I want a 40 years old leader. That's what I want. I don't want.
But in your state today, we have a speaker who is less than 40. I mean, you referred to it much earlier that we have some of them in good positions already. But how well are they faring according to you?
Exactly.
Have you taken time to actually do that work?
I do not want to make statements that are not tied with data here, because it is convenient for politicians to jump at you these days with their machineries. But I am not sure that those who occupy those offices, I'm talking from Kogi to other states, have fared very well. And these are persons who are pushing the youth agenda to become president of this country. What has happened to your state? What have you delivered in your term? Let us get to the point in Nigeria where we begin to discuss success stories, where we say, okay, you know what, I'm contesting because I did X, Y, Z, go and check, confirm. Not because one godfather thinks I'm qualified. And then I'll have to see all the world leaders, see the youth leaders, see the women leader, pay money here and there because I want to become their representative.
So where's the hope now?
Let the work
Nigeria is 61. Are we going to be repeating these issues next year? We would have done 62. I mean, where's the hope for us? Would there be a paradigm shift? Where should it begin from?
Can we achieve
it within shortest possible time?
I'm a very positive person, but I also tell you that the persons we are relying upon are almost all leaving the country in their drones. Every Nigerian that can afford it is at the verge of leaving the country. Post-Brexit, the United Kingdom opened a program, and the Nigerians are going there in their hundreds, in their thousands every day. Canada was the in thing some 2 years ago. Even so, people are still going there. People are saying, okay, so go that far, let me go to a country that's closer to us. So any Nigerian that can afford it is running away. You saw the live interview of doctors on the streets being recruited to leave Nigeria. And a supposed minister, who is also a medical doctor, said there was no big deal about that we can export, we have more than enough. So, whilst I still believe that there's hope for this country, I think we must begin to change our core values. We must begin to participate at political party, not in politics, participate at the political party level. Every Nigerian who is of the middle age or a youth by any description and can fend for himself should register in either of the two political parties. It is when you have...
You are thinking of going back to the old. Some people are saying we should move away from them.
No.
You are saying you should go there.
Rescue Nigeria.
You are recruiting Nigeria for these two political
Yes,
parties.
because I'll tell you, politically, I'll say this to you, there's no political party outside PDP and APC that will win a federal election today in this country. I'll tell you why. All these smaller parties you see around, they don't have widespread. The parties you will see in virtually every ward in this country are PDP and APC. So now you think that, oh, you cannot infiltrate their rank. You can. If you go there in your numbers, you will begin to decide from within. You will not have to use state resources. Charter plane and fill it up with your political party members because you want to go and visit a leader who should be quietly resting after receiving treatment. You are harassing the man. But of course, you want the fanfare. You want to be saying, oh, I took pictures with him on social media. I went to that. When 2023 comes, you'll remember that I saw this face in London. He came to see me.
All right, so let's move on to the next topic, which is the insecurity, the continuous destruction and sit-at-home order in the southeastern part of Nigeria. We all know that there's still an ongoing battle with the IPOB and ESN, and there's this stay-at-home order every Monday. And funny enough, the citizens obey the sit-at-home order in spite of the governors of that state asking the people to go to work. In fact, the governor of Imo State actually closed down some banks in Imo State, and even despite that, on Monday they received the IPOB ordered them to bring down the Nigerian flag, and they complied. You know, so there's so much confusion in the southeastern part of Nigeria presently.
Let me add to this.
Yeah.
Apart from the almost near 100% compliance to that order, to IPOB order to sit at home, only yesterday in Inewi, the IPOB members actually allegedly raised down the FRSC office and then the homes of some prominent Igbos. It's become so bad that it's becoming more and more destructive. They are becoming more and more destructive. Lives are no longer safe. You are also witness to the fact that the husband to the celebrated Laura Akuni was murdered in cold blood just 2 weeks ago. I mean, the continuous Monday shutdown is there. Now, how bad can it get?
Well, I would say first and foremost, may the soul of Dr. Akuri rest in peace. It's a battle, I think, it's the battle for a better Nigeria that took both the wife and the husband. They are one of the best that you could have wished for. If Nigeria was a wonderful country, they would still be here, serving us. You said 100% compliance. You see, I feel that our terms are not properly put. And the reason I'm saying this is this. You see, I comply willfully. The Igbos, I'm not an Igbo man, but I relate with the Igbos. My oldest friends are Igbos. I can confidently pass one for an Igbo man any day. There's virtually no state in the East that I walk into that will not have either a classmate or a friend living. The Igbos in their default states are traders. That is why you see even an Igbo professor will have a side business. So it is not possible, and I dare the IPOB people to challenge this, it's not possible that you can ask the Igbos to stay at home without introducing brute force. It is the fear of death. You did not convince them that it's a cause that should inform their stay at home. You have told them that if you come out, we'll kill you, and you have killed several. Your people, your brothers, Ndigo. So I do not understand how we can actually say there's a cause called IPOB for the indigenous people of Biafra against the oppression of the other tribes, and then you come back to your people and begin to kill them one after the other. Just because you call yourself a supreme leader. Which, first of all, is an aberration. Supreme, who are you supreme to? Then, on the compliance, I think it's a mark of total failure of the state. Total failure. The impact of this will visit the East in the next 10 to 15 years. It could even be worse than the Civil War. I'll tell you why. Do you know that hardly will any resident of the eastern states gain admission into university next year? You know why? Because their children, the children that wrote WAEC this year, did not write English and did not write mathematics.
That's true.
Those subjects were taken on Mondays. They sat at home. So how then is that agitation in favor of the Igbos? The future of these children have been jeopardized by your own stupidity. You ask them to sit at home. Now the few that came out to write exams, you get there, shot guns, threatened them, burnt down bikes and everything, and chased them away. The government could not protect them. The government that you're saying has said, oh, do not sit at home, come out. They move around with convoy of vehicles. They are protected, but the citizen you have asked to come out is not protected. Then how do you want him not to comply?
You know that INEC chairman has equally said that they are afraid right now. They don't even know if the Anambra
November 6th Anambra gubernatorial election.
Yeah, you know it's that bad.
Yeah.
That the INEC chairman has come out to say that.
This is indicative that this government is a total failure. I mean, there's no other way to put it. In the northeast, village heads are paying money to bandits for safety. Oh, do not attack our village, we'll pay you every month this amount. It's in the public view. And then you swore to protect lives and properties of your citizens. Let's not describe them as Igbos or Hausas. They are Nigerian citizens. They are Nigerian citizens. You cannot. You went to Imo State. Mr. President went there and went with the highest number of military protection I have seen in recent times.
Yeah.
If you watch the clip, there was a man carrying one funny briefcase, and I had to Google to know what that briefcase is about. I've been here long enough to see presidential visits. I've not seen that briefcase. I don't know if you have seen it.
Yes.
That briefcase was to give the president an extra protection from his people. From his people. And then you spent hours and you left. You do not think how the citizens, your citizens, Mr. President, will fare when you are no longer there. But you know why I will come back again to the followers? They were immobilized there. You can say they were paid. But they came there, they celebrated him. And to show you how unstable we have become as Nigerians, that his entire social media went agog on the trouser of the president. The most insignificant content of that visit. People were making mockery of, oh, his trouser looks funny, his hair looks funny on him. That's the president could have gone there with that apart or anything. Just go there and do something that will protect your citizens. But Nigerians are more concerned with very irrelevant aspects of our lives.
But what's your view about the fact that even the IPOB, that every finger is pointing out, is said to be divided? That the group responsible for these attacks and this mayhem and destruction were some members who were disgruntled, who actually left the mainstream IPOB. But the fact remains that, of course, they are Igbos too. What could have actually divided them? And then you said something earlier that in the next 15 years, that the impact, the negative impact of what's going on will be felt, will still be felt. So what do you do, whether it's the mainstream or the breakaway members, what could have divided them and what could have been the cause?
I do not see any division in ideology. The leader, the supreme leader of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, was always on airports, on Biafran radio, asking them to visit Mayhem on the states and the agencies of the states.
Of course, he said that the mainstream is not it's not violent.
But he was the one making those broadcasts, and he's the supreme leader. If the ideology is to protect the life, you see, the group called IPOB, unfortunately, with the kindest respect to any intellectual that may be part of them, do not understand the concept of Biafra. Biafra was not intended to destroy properties.
Biafra or IPOB?
IPOB is Biafra.
Okay.
IPOB is the indigenous people of Biafra.
You are aware that we had the main Biafra in this.
That is it.
They are trying is an offshoot.
No, they are trying to replicate what they think is the ideal of the Biafra struggle. The Biafra struggle was not about this. Yes, there's injustice. Yes, the Igbos are unfairly treated. That is a given. Yes, they are marginalized. But everything you condemn about Igbo, you are now visiting worse than the things you condemn on them. You are telling them that they must not go out to trade. An average Igbo man goes out on Monday morning to open shop. It is from that point, that Monday morning, that he predicts, he views how his business will run for the remainder of the week. Then the first day of the week, you ask him to sit at home. You know that the economy in the entire eastern state is commerce. And you're asking them not to trade. Do not go to work. I already said that they are marginalized. So the other place where they could have benefited, you agree that they have been marginalized. The only source they have, what sustained the Igbos post-Civil War, was this thing that you are depriving them of. And you say you are fighting their cause? It doesn't make sense.
All right, in spite of the federal government deploying several troops to the southeast, people living there said so many of their youth have been killed, so many have been arrested, they just come into their homes and pick them and all that. In spite of that, it's not IPOB attacks are not abating in any way. Do you think the government is overwhelmed, especially with all they are doing also in the northern parts of Nigeria? Are they overwhelmed really? Not being able to take charge of the situation?
In the northeast, I would think the government could be overwhelmed. But I do not think there's sincerity in the southeast. I'll tell you why. You see, the attacks in the southeast are not guerrilla warfare. They are on the streets of Owerri, on the streets of eastern states, broad daylight, walking on the streets. There are videos of them with AK-47. And they are not sufficient to overpower a battalion of the Nigerian army. They are not. So I think the whole idea of, oh, we have sent troops there is a facade. The government is not doing enough. And in not doing enough, you have submitted your authority to a non-governmental institution, the unknown gunmen, who are now running the states. Yeah, because for unknown persons who do not have political power to give instruction on our Independence Day that people should not come out, and that is obeyed, that is a spark of failure on your part. That means that there is an alternate government there that is superior to you. Because you said come out, and this alternate government says don't come out.
But in the next couple of weeks, the IPOB has actually threatened that if by later this month, October 18, their leader, that's Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is not actually presented in court, that there will be a month-long sit-at-home. So that's another fear. The governments have been counter orders and counter orders from government and from the IPOB. Like Jumoke said, why would government issue orders when they know they can actually follow and they protect the lives of the citizens?
Those are political orders. Those are political speeches. Just like what the president said. The president said that the president and presidency now, I don't know who said what, the president or the presidency said, oh, if you see any herdsman with AK-47, shoot them. But they're still out there. Those are political statements. There is no genuine intention by this government to protect the lives of Indigo living in the eastern part of Nigeria. And they have the capacity to do that. You see, my pain is that the IPOB is allowing themselves to be used as an instrument to destroy their people.
Who is using them? Who is using the IPOB to destroy the people?
The persons who sent officers there that have not given them order as to what to do.
Because it's just a bit contradictory, because they are fighting a cause.
What cause?
Probably the cause is that they want to be self-determination, you call it, and they have not got it, and they believe that their leader, who is in incarceration, is the one that will lead them to this actualization of the sovereignty.
Do you kill persons you want to self-determine? I want us to leave this TV station because I think we are better off to partner together, and then you agree and I kill you. How does that become self-determination? These are the persons you want to self-determine with. These are the persons you want to create a new state with, and you are killing them. You know, in some quarters actually, some friends of mine, Igbo friends of mine, have said to me that, brother, we do not believe that these ESN people are Igbos. That before this whole mayhem started, there were trucks of non-Igbos making entry into the East in their hundreds. And now those persons have been moved into, I mean, who's an Igbo man? If I dress like IPOB today and say, Igbo Queen, I'm Igbo, I can speak Igbo, I can write Igbo. But these persons feel that they are mercenaries who are doing these things. So until IPOBs come and express and say, you know what, this is not us. This is not our ideal.
They continue to deny some of these allegations against them. They continue to say, we are not the ones who have done this and that.
Have they come out in protest? The way IPOB sends their message is in protest. Have they come out, march on the streets of Aba, march on the streets of Umuahia, in Owerri, to say, we are not part of this?
Okay, what should the elites do as we actually wind up? What should the elites of the Indigo or Ohaneze Indigo and all the socio-cultural groups, what should they be doing now? To stem the tide of destruction, killings, and then so many negative things that are going on there.
But unfortunately, I want to answer this question with all sense of sincerity, frankly. The elites have no command or control their people. Most of them cannot even go back to their states. Most of them are on the run. So what are they supposed to do? Most of them are running. So that if we had Ohaneze Ndigbo in its old structure, what they could do would be to call the leaders of IPOB. I saw the National Assembly caucus the last time had a meeting, and they said, oh, we have this agenda, that agenda, this agenda, if you do not satisfy this. All political talk. All politics. you know what you will do. Abaribe, you are the leader, you are the minority leader of the Senate. You know what to do.
He knows what to do.
You know what to do.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. Thank you for joining us. And that's our program today. See you again on Wednesday. Bye-bye.